Pads. Look, we'll go back and we'll look at the tape. I mean, there were some things that I thought there was a couple of pretty good runs that I saw in there. Again, we'll have to see the tape and see exactly, what they would have looked like in a real life situation. But there were some good things that I saw today. Again, I saw the ball go down the field a couple of times, some explosive plays. Got another punch out on defense. So there's some things that, both sides of the ball are doing really well. I think the biggest thing is that, our guys are competing. And, when you get talented players and they're willing to work and compete, they really don't have a choice but to get better. So we got a long way to go, but I like the direction that we're headed right now.
Yeah, did you see what happened between Alante and Cedric Wilson?
I did not. My assumption is that Cedric was probably blocking Alante and he didn't like being blocked. That would be my assumption on that particular play. It was a running play, and said, came on a fast motion. Alante was tracking him back across, so that would be my assumption that's what happened. And that would be fairly standard for a padded practice and training camp, and yet we have to understand that those aren't things that you can do in a real life game. So we've got to be able to kind of manage those and get those under control a little bit.
How do you see it's one of your favorite days?
Yeah. I mean, it's the first time since January that we've had an opportunity to play real football, or simulate real football, and so I always enjoy putting the pads on, and then the big thing is you're trying to find out who likes the noise, and really who doesn't like the noise, and this is a tough physical game, played by tough physical people, and you have to be willing to stick your nose in there and create a little contact, absorb a little contact, and be able to make plays within that. I thought Shaheed made a really nice play today on a contested catch across the middle. I think that's something that we have to be able to do. We have to be able to catch the ball in the middle of the field and know that we're going to have to absorb some contact in that situation. And 99 out of 100 times, you're going to get hit, so you might as well catch the ball and finish the play. So, but yeah, I do enjoy this part of the game.
How much could you gauge, I guess, offensive line in general, and maybe Trevor specific? I know you said you saw some runs you liked, but how much can you gauge off today?
Well, it'd probably be easier for me to look at the tape first before, kind of coming back and saying, something, and then having to, change my opinion once I see the tape. Look, I did think from standing behind, I thought there was a few plays where I felt like, the runner was getting into the second level of the defense on a couple of these plays prior to having to deal with any sort of contact. And so that generally means that the runner is taking the right track, all right, and B, that the offensive line is getting on the right people and creating a little bit of movement.
What was your impression of how Chase Young looked in that?
I think he got 3 plays, and the first one kind of bull rushed back in there and, got a little bit too close to the quarterback for me, but that was, that catches your eye when a guy's able to, walk the offensive tackle back into the quarterback. I think that's something that he can do, and so, I thought I liked what I saw in those 3 plays. I think all 3 of them, by design, were pass rush plays, and I think we'll see, gradually a little bit more and a little bit more, out of Chase as we go into practice. This was all kind of part of the plan, to kind of work him back in, and so we got him a couple of pass rushes in a team environment, which I thought that was that was good for him, both physically and mentally, I think, to be back out there.
We can obviously see that Mason Tipton can get it deep. Is he a guy that can run every year out though? Is he polished in some of the
I think we'll have to see. You know, I think he's got the skill set. You know, he's a smaller player, but he's got some real good quickness, and he's a savvy route runner. You know, like he's got some football awareness. And so I think he understands kind of how to play the position. He's got really explosive speed down the field. So I think as we go throughout training camp, we'll have to see, you know, what are all those things that he can do. I think he's proven that he can run deep. And now we'll have to see how does he execute in some of the underneath stuff, and can we get the ball in his hands quickly? Can he get some run after catch? Those types of things. But I was telling someone the other day that he reminds me a little bit of, on the defensive side of the ball, I had Chris Harris in Denver 2011. We had the lockout, and you know, nobody knew who Chris Harris was. He was an undrafted free agent out of Kansas. But every day he showed up out there, he worked his tail off, competed at the highest level, and every day he did something to catch your eye, you know. And next thing you know, you're 2 or 3 weeks into training camp, and you know he's done something to deserve an opportunity to, you know, get more opportunities. And so I think I like some of the things that I'm seeing out of him.
Dennis, would you say that Willie Gay has been, just in a little bit of time here, has been the guy you hoped he would be when you went out and got him?
Yeah, I think so. From this standpoint, from a big, physical, athletic linebacker that I know is going to come in and practice hard, work hard, compete, do all of those things. And so now I think the biggest thing for Willie is, man, continuing to get into the playbook and continuing to study and continuing to understand all the things that we're asking him to do. I think he's taken some steps forward from where he was in the spring. I think there's still some steps to be taken there, but I do think that each day he continues to get a little bit more comfortable and play a little bit better. So, yeah, I'm pleased with what I've seen, you know, to this point, but now we're only into installs 1 and 2, so we really haven't even gotten into, you know, our third down stuff or 2-minute or red zone or any of that type of stuff too. So hopefully he'll continue to, you know, be on top of everything as the volume of defense picks up a little bit.
And would you say that Pete Werner has had a good start to this camp too?
Yeah, I think Pete's had a really good start to the camp. You know, so yeah, I think there's going to be some competition at the linebacker spot. Whether that be for linebackers 1, 2, and 3, is it for linebackers 4, 5, and 6? You know, I think that's a room that's got some guys that, you know, have some ability, and now they just got to be able to come out here and show it on a consistent basis.
How quickly is Willie grasping this role? When you talk about, you know, he's still got some of it to learn, but so far what you see, does he grasp it, the concepts quickly?
Well, I think he's improved a lot in training camp from where he was in the spring. You know, so obviously he spent some time over the summer, you know, studying the playbook and trying to make sure that he was on point with everything. He's still got a ways to go in terms of that, and I know he's working extremely hard at it. And then, you know, look, at some point that becomes our responsibility to make sure we're putting him in the positions to do the things that he can do really well, and trying to minimize or limit the times that we do things with him that maybe he's not really in his wheelhouse.
Dennis, how would you kind of describe the process y'all taking in marrying the run game with the play action game that y'all have done and kind of making it all look similar?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know that, you know, you really talk about what's the process. I mean, this process started years and years and years and years ago, you know, in terms of what the offense looks. The foundation of this scheme, you know, has been around, you know, for a long time. I think, you know, as Clint's been around, he's taken bits and pieces from, you know, what he knows that Rico and John Benton have done and understand, and what his dad did, you know, and what Kyle Shanahan did. You know, he's kind of taken bits and pieces of that and kind of morphed that into, you know, our own, you know, flavor of this offense. But I think the biggest thing is we're trying to give a multitude of looks with a few core plays that we can run over and over and just change the looks up for the defense. So it's simple for us offensively, and yet it's complicated for the defense. And so how do we make this run concept and this play action pass look the same, and then what window dressing can we put on it to cause conflict in the defense?
Yeah, with Chase, just in terms of his timeline, was this always a target in terms of potentially getting him back in the team, or is that just
I think once we he met with the doctors when we got here on the 22nd, and he was cleared by the doctor for full participation. So I think at that point we probably accelerated this timeline just a little bit from where we probably initially thought it would be or potentially could be. So I like where he's at right now. We're going to continue to be smart with him, but I think each day you'll see him ramp up a little bit more and more every day.
Is that a credit to how he attacked his rehab?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a credit to Dr. Watkins and the surgery that he did. I think it's a credit to our training staff and the work that they've done with him. I think it's a credit to him that he did everything that our training staff asked him to do to a T. And then I think it's credit to the good Lord, it's credit to his mom and dad, because they're the one that gave him the healing genes, so it's probably a lot of credit to go around, it sounds like. So, but he worked extremely hard at it, and man, I'm excited about seeing what he can do.
Dennis, we saw Saldaberry leave early. Do you have any updates?
Calf.
Yeah.
It seems like every day there's guys out here continuing to work after practice a little bit, things like that. What does that say about the buy-in of this team?
Yeah, look, everything that I've seen and heard has been positive in terms of the buy-in of this football team to what we're trying to do, and I think this team's excited about going out and playing this season. And so now, look, we're practice number 5. You know what I mean? And so, but look, this game that we play is a tough game, and everybody has the same goal at the end of the season. Everybody wants to win a championship, and yet the reality is there's only one team that's going to do it. And I said this the other day. I mean, I don't know exactly what it's going to take, but it's going to take whatever it takes. And so that means you might have to put in a little extra effort and a little extra work post-practice. You might have to spend a little bit more time in the film room. We might have to spend a little bit more time taking care of our bodies and recovery and things of that nature. So I think the guys have taken to that, and they understand it. Because again, there's no shortcut to success in our league, and it takes a lot of hard work. And everybody says they want to win, and everybody says they want to win at the highest level. But is everybody really willing to do what it takes to do that? And it's not easy. And so that's what I've tried to impress upon our guys, is that you have a job to do, and whatever that job is, you have to be able to get that job done. And so whatever work you have to put in to be able to accomplish that, then that's what you have to do.
What have you seen from Paulson Adebo so far in this game?
I think he's picked up, really where he left off. I think he's been really sticky in coverage. I think he's been, competitive at the catch point. There's been a couple of plays that have been made on him on crossing routes, but he's been right there in position. And I think if you put yourself in a competitive position, time in and time out, that eventually, those plays come your way. And so, I think he's playing at a high level right now.
Has he kind of elevated himself to one of the premier corners in this league, or do you think that's something maybe he can prove this season?
Yeah, look, I think, I think that's still something that he's trying to prove. I can't speak for all the other corners in our league. I can't speak for what anybody else feels about the corners in our league. I can tell you that I'm glad that we have him, and I can tell you that we rely on him and his ability to cover. And I have zero challenges putting him in a coverage situation against whoever you want to line up against him. And so it's a comforting feeling for me as a head coach and a defensive play caller.
Dennis, because of Marshawn's injury history the last couple of years, how concerned are you with what he's dealing with right now? Or are you happy that it happened early in camp?
Well, look, I think anytime guys, have injuries and miss significant time, and then all of a sudden, you get to training camp and, they're dealing with something else that's going to cause them to, miss some time. It's concerning, and yet it's not. I'm not losing a lot of sleep over it right now. I think the good news for us is I do think that we have some good players at the corner position that can pick up the slack when he's unavailable, and I think our guys have been able to do that over the last couple of years. And so certainly I want him to get healthy. I want him back out here. I think he's a big part of what we do defensively when we're at our best. He's playing, at a high level, and so hopefully he'll be able to get his rehab done and get back out here sooner rather than later.
When it comes to
Last one, please.
when it comes to prospects who either maybe didn't grow up playing primarily American football or maybe didn't grow up in the United States, and scouting and considering them seriously, how much has that changed over your coaching career, to now, and how much more of that do you think there will be?
Well, I don't know. It's a tough question. I mean, I think you have access to, with all the technology and everything that we have now, we got access to a lot more people and things. I mean, you pick up your phone all the time and, somebody's, got one of these, whatever that's called, Twitter or whatever it is, and they show one of these videos of some rugby player or somebody doing something, so I think you just have, there's more information on people, and so it allows you to do a little bit better job of trying to scout those guys. And look, I think, the reality is there's probably, you want to make sure you're turning over every stone, and yet the reality is that, for every one of those guys that makes it, there's probably another, 15, 20, 100, whatever the number is that don't pan out, But I think anytime you get a guy that's got, size, speed, athleticism, and they're willing to work, I think, it's kind of worth a shot when you're talking about a 90-man roster. All right, guys, thanks.
We have Willie Gay.
Okay, Willie, I got him warmed up for you, brother.
Thank you.
But he's warmed up because of that beat over.
Willie, is this your favorite day of camp? Not just here, but since you've been in the league, that first day of putting pads on?
Oh yeah, definitely. It gets it's real football once the pads come on, so a lot more fun.
How are you progressing, really learning your role in playbook so far?
Everything's going good, man. Like you say, I'm just playing my role, doing my job, and hopefully to increase my role in whatever position that may be. Learning the playbook. Like I say, I want to get it down to a T, so when I'm out on the field and the bullets flying, there's no thinking, it's just all action. So, but as of right now, it's going pretty good.
But it's competition when it comes to,
I'm sorry, start over?
I know it's competition when it comes to, getting your spot on the field, but being in that room with DeMario and with Pete, how is that continuing to help your growth?
Obviously, Pete been here 4 years, DeMario been in the league forever. Seeing those guys play the way they play this style of defense and the way they run the scheme, I watch those guys and learn anything that I can. Even though I'm older than Pete, like I say, he's been here longer, so you can learn something from anybody, and I'm definitely taking notes every day I get a chance to.
Willie, there's a lot of talk about you and Pete in sort of a competition for playing time. Is it possible that when you look at that linebacker group that the three of you with DeMario could maybe be on the field together more than people expect?
We definitely can now. me and Pete on the outside, no matter what position, Will or Sam, or either one of us, there's nothing we can't do. You know, I feel like we can cover, we can blitz, we can tackle. You know, obviously not perfect, but if you want us to play out in space, we can. If you want us to play in the box, we can. So we definitely want to get it to the point where we're playing more three linebackers in the box at all times. But, you know, it's a scheme thing, you know, whatever works and whatever helps us win.
But obviously what you show them in training camp can help make that happen, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So we're definitely trying.
What stands out to you about how Mike Hodges coaches and his energy and all that stuff?
Like I was telling the person earlier, he's just such a player's coach. He's one of those leaders, man, and he's only like 35, 34 years old. So like he understands that he doesn't know everything, but he's one of those leaders who's humble enough he listens, but he still leads the room, you know. And when you see that in a coach, it's the best thing ever because, you know, like I said, you can learn something from anybody, and when you do that in a leader role, it makes us respect you even more. So he's a great coach, best I ever had, man, and I'm glad to be here under him.
How many guys on this team were on that same Mississippi State defense? 3 of them?
JT, Jonathan Abram, yep.
Talk about the chemistry you guys have.
Oh, we just I know what those two guys got in them, man. I know they are ballers, you know. Obviously JT been showing that special teams, and Jonathan Abram, man, he make plays all over. He can make plays all over the field, and we trust each other, you know. And when we're out there together, whether it's with the twos or on special teams, we know what each one of us are capable of, and we plan to see it on Sundays. So.
Willie, now that you've had a new coaching staff kind of look at you and analyze your game, and was there anything new that you've been working on this summer, this spring and summer?
Man, it's just football, you know. It's just the little things, tackling, getting in position, being what you're supposed to do, being where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know, it ain't rocket science. You just line up, play football, and continue to just try to be consistent with it. You know, I can say that, but at the end of the day, is doing your job over and over again.
Really, on top of that, what stands out to you about what this defense maybe does differently, or now that you've gotten more time in?
They definitely use their linebackers more, and I'm super excited about that. You know, like I said, obviously Pete and Demario have been here longer. They running the show right now, but any way that I can, I want to increase my role so that, you know, maybe one day, you know, if it pans out, I'm getting some of those third down reps, or, you know, getting more playing time. But it's a defense that's definitely led by the linebackers, and we definitely gonna drive the bus and lead the best way we can.
When you say that the linebackers are, you know, that they use their linebackers, what's unique about what they do?
Third down, man. Shoot, man. You making me reminisce. But back in the day, you know, everybody came off the field where I was before, and except one Mike linebacker. But now, man, they leave both guys on the field, and like I was telling him earlier, if all three guys are good enough, shoot, they'll leave all of us out there. I feel like it's more of a, hey, if you can do it, we'll run it type of scheme here, and I'm glad that they actually trust their linebackers.
How is your game and Pete's game similar, and maybe what is the difference between you two guys?
I'll say the only difference is I'm bigger. Like I will say, like Pete's about 234. I'm pushing a good 240. I got 2 kids now, so that's, you know, the daddy weight. But man, we such similar players, man. We're fast, can tackle. Shoot, I even try to take some tackling techniques from Pete because he can tackle, you know. And it's everything that he does, man. I can do everything I can do. I feel like he can do, you know. And if not the same, shoot, better sometimes, you know. So we definitely learn from each other, man, and try to get better and compete with each other. So.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
We don't need no more Mississippi State talk here.
We good on that.
Get the eyes turned to you right away?
Get the basics down, you know, learn the playbook, but you know, I think the most important thing to me is getting my teammates respect, and and that's, you know, working the hardest, you know, helping out in any way I can, you know, doing whatever I can to help the team win. I think that was, you know, the first thing on my mind.
Do you feel like you've done that? Got your teammates respect?
I think I'm on the way there. You know, but I'm new here. I don't think, you know, it's been enough time for somebody to even get to know me yet. So, you know, building those relationships with these guys, you know, showing them what I'm about. I think, you know, that's a, you know, a stairway, you know, stepping stones to each, you know, each stage.
What have you learned about yourself just being out here and succeeding so far at this level?
Nothing I didn't know already. You know, I work hard. You know, I tell myself I work the hardest. So, you know, any moments out here is something that I've already believed that I could do. So, you know, it's just like I said, when I'm prepared, you know, I trust myself that I'm prepared. I come out here to make the plays that I know I can make.
DA was saying earlier that obviously they see the speed down the field, all that stuff. They want to learn more about what you can do as a route runner, underneath, yards after catch, all that stuff. What can you do on those other routes and after the catch?
I think it's important to know that I can run the whole route tree. You know, obviously I'm fast, but you know, I've always been a deep threat receiver, but I can run every single route in the game, and I think that's what kind of makes me dynamic, especially in the pass game.
Do you have sort of a chip on your shoulder coming in as an undrafted guy?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, you know, I wouldn't say it's the hard way, but it's, you know, it's the opportunity that God gave me. So, you know, first and foremost, I'm appreciative. I'm very thankful to be here. But yeah, I definitely have a chip on my shoulder, and it's something that I gotta, you know, I know I have to come out here and prove it every day.
What was the draft process for you like?
I mean, it was new. You know, it was something I never went through, obviously, before. So, you know, it was just controlling what I could control, and I think that's how I ended up here.
Jason, how many opportunities did you have before you went to Yale?
I had about 15 offers out of high school.
So why did you pick? What led you there?
So it really came down to Kent State or Yale, and I'm from Akron, so Kent State's about 30 minutes from me. And when, you know, I got the Yale offer, my mom kind of looked at me and she was like, "You're, you know, the very least you're going to take this visit." So I took the visit and I ended up loving it. And then, you know, I have a great relationship with honestly everybody in the organization at Yale, so I'm super fortunate that I went there.
And was that the only Ivy League school that you considered? Or?
I had Dartmouth. Okay. Dartmouth was the other Ivy League offer, but I only took my official to Yale.
Do you get a different kind of respect from your teammates when they find out you went to Yale? What kind of stuff do you hear?
You know, I think they give me too much credit. You know, the first thing they hear is Yale, and they assume I'm a genius. You know, I think it's more jokes, but you know, obviously I'm very fortunate that I did. You know, that I was able to go to, you know, one of the top academic institutions in the world. So, you know, a little bit of both.
DA was saying that there's a difference between like smart, football smart. Is that something that you've noticed as well, or does it translate like to?
You know, I think all great football players have to be football smart. You know, you can't be you know, overthinking on the football field get you beat. So, and it's funny, that was the first thing he told me when I met him. You know, when I got here for rookie minicamp was, you know, I don't care. He was like, I don't care if you're smart. You need to be football smart. You know, because that was, you know, clear what he saw.
And then in terms of the Saints registering interest in you in pre-draft processes, or like, did it come together fast after you went undrafted, or how did that?
It was extremely fast. Like I said, it was something I never experienced before, but it was extremely fast. You know, it was like in a blink of an eye I had to make a decision. So, but you know, obviously, you know, I trust God, and I felt like He was pulling me this way. So, you know, I trusted Him, and here we are.
Did you think you were a possibility to go late in the draft too, or?
I thought so. I mean, there, you know, obviously never, and you know, anything's never for certain, but you know, but like I said, you know, I trust God, and we're here.
How many of the teams were interested in you in the undrafted process?
I mean, it was a couple, but I'll be honest, I don't really think that matters now. You know, but I had a couple opportunities. But it's, you know, I'll say it again. You know, it just came down to, you know, where I felt I was being called, and you know, so I went.
What's the main thing you're taking away from the other receivers?
I mean, you know, each guy. I think what's cool about this room is each guy kind of brings something different. You know, obviously, you know, the guys that we have are all dynamic. You know, there's bigger body, you know, bigger, longer receivers. There's, you know, fast guys. So it's something that I can, you know, learn from everyone. So that's kind of something I've been trying to do, is just watch who does what well and see what I can add to my game.
Who's the fastest receiver in that row?
I would like to say that I can contend for that spot, but I think Sheed and Olave both can really run. So I won't get ahead of myself. I think those guys are extremely fast.
There's not like a huge like tradition of Yale products in the NFL. So like, when did that become like a realistic kind of goal for you to reach? Was it like right when you stepped there, or was it kind of later on in the process?
Truthfully, it was probably after my freshman season. I've been a starter. I was a 4-year starter at Yale, and I think after my freshman season, having the bit of success that I had, I think my eyes were open to like, hey, if you really want to chase this and you really want to, play at the next level, then you got to put all your chips in. So I think that was when I opened my eyes to working hard and doing whatever I could to, get where I said I was going to get to.
And you were at Keith Williams' camp. What was what's kind of been your relationship with him been like, and just with the kind of receiver group as a whole? It seems like kind of he's trying to get a almost family mentality.
I mean, he's a guy that really cares, and I think his genuine personality is something I think draws us all in. He's obviously super knowledgeable about the game. He's coached some of the best receivers in the game, and at the same time, it's like you said, the family atmosphere, the brotherhood inside. The receiver room, and I think the most important thing is that he coaches all of us like we're his sons, so he's going to give us what is best for ourselves, and I think that's important.
Also, you mentioned your mom with Yale. Did she have any say on ending up on the Saints or anything?
No.
So, if you were thinking about the NFL since sophomore year, how did you approach the transfer portal?
I had thought about it, but to be honest, Coach Reno at Yale, I think, one of the things I liked the most about Yale was the brotherhood aspect. And, I had a great relationship with my class, and, we were 3-time Ivy League champions, so that was a goal of ours, was to win 3. And, that's what we did. I think it was just a decision that I made that we were going to finish it the right way.
Okay, it didn't have to do with, like, the whole balance of what a Yale degree means.
Well, that too. I mean, I think that kind of speaks for itself. I wasn't going to leave Yale if I already did 3 years. I wasn't going to leave then and not get my degree. I think that kind of would have been kind of goofy. So,
do you think there are any particular highlights you could cite from your college football career that made it really hard for scouts to not notice you?
Did you say that again?
Any particular highlights, just favorite plays from your college career that you think, looking back, those are probably the ones that made it impossible for the scouts to ignore me?
I think there's a lot of them. Like I said, I've always been a deep threat receiver, but I think the questions that all the scouts or people looking at me was just that, how does they look at the Ivy League in a certain light, how does the speed translate to this level? And I understand, but at the same time, I think it's hard to ignore a playmaker. So I have a lot of highlights, thankfully, that'll show a scout that I can play.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate y'all. Thank you.
We have Trevor.
I know you probably were on the field for this.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. The weather's great.
Very nice. Very nice.
Look, how would you sort of gauge where you feel like you are right now? Are you satisfied with your first 5? I know everything's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with what you've sort of put out there so far in 5 days in?
So far, yeah. I think. There's always work you can do, but so far I feel like I've been a lot more comfortable, even from years past and even the spring. So I think so far, I've been pretty comfortable doing some good things. There's obviously a ton of stuff I can still improve on, but I'll take that day by day and just keep improving every day.
Eric McCoy talked about your confidence. How much can you feel that your confidence has grown?
I feel a lot more confident for sure. I feel like I'm not afraid to make really a mistake. Obviously you don't want to make mistakes, but I feel like mistakes are kind of how you learn, and I think the previous 2 years, I think I've been, it was hard to kind of making a mistake kind of bothered me, but now it's kind of like a learning moment. You can learn from it, flush it, and, use it and try never to make it again, but use it to learn and keep going.
Who did you kind of talk to get to that point? Who did you kind of talk to get to that point?
I mean, different people. Kind of just internally, a lot of it. I just kind of, watching film and stuff, and, I've heard it from older guys, older vets. Even training, I know guys like Teron Armstead and guys I worked with down there. He was kind of a mentor to me. Teron was. Having him kind of his mental process he uses and kind of stuff he does definitely helps. So.
What are a few of the first day pass for you guys? I know you weren't as physical as probably you like to be, but can you just gauge how you felt like you performed out there today and how comfortable you were today?
I think it was okay. There's definitely, it's first day in pads. You got to kind of get used to hitting people for real again. It's been since January since we did that, but first day I think it went fine. There's definitely some things I can clean up as an offense. We can clean up as well. But overall it's a good day. We can learn from it.
Is it really not that big of a deal to switch from one side to the other, the side you've been playing all your life to another side?
It's definitely an adjustment for sure, but from the moment I figured out I was switching to now, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable. I feel like even going to the left side now would be a little weird. It would be kind of all backwards there. So, but it's been good so far. Just keep working every day and getting more comfortable with it.
Trevor, when did you link up with Teron? When did that relationship kind of start?
This after OTAs. He was down there training in Frisco.
Mastermind.
Yep.
Yeah. What's that been like? 'Cause obviously he had a ton of success here. So what kind of did he try to help you out with?
A lot of technique. A lot of the mental side of it. Like a plan is almost kind of what he was trying to help me with. Was kind of develop a plan before you even get to the line of scrimmage. What you're going to do to them and not let the rusher dictate what you're going to do. So taking more of a offensive approach and being the guy who kind of sets the tone over what he's going to do. So
Trevor, how important is this season for you?
very important, very important for sure. The first 2 years, it's not what I really wanted. So I want to go out there and show what I can do. Because I know I can. I just got to do it.
Do you feel like you're under a microscope? As far as just people focusing on you?
Yeah, maybe a little. I don't really let outside noise bother me. So.
Do you feel like you're close to sort of earning and winning that job? I'm sure that's the goal for you. Do you feel like that's attainable and not that far away for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's not up to me, but I'm doing what I can do to do that. So.
Trevor, I'm sure you've gotten advice from a million people and new people like the guys you worked with in the offseason, new coaching staff and everything. So you probably got 30 things that are the secret to it. What have you boiled down to that's the main thing that you want to accomplish, I guess, or that'll help you turn things around?
Kind of what I want to do this year.
What have you decided is the main?
I want to do what I can, for this team to win. I want to be, a key contributor to that. I want to, play how I think I'm able to play and be, a dominant player, which I believe I can become. So that's kind of what I want to do, and I'm going to use training camp to work to get to that.
Do you feel like the scheme fits your game well? There's a lot of stuff in space. You're an athletic guy. Is there stuff?
You mean like the offense and stuff?
Yeah.
I think this offense is definitely more of my style of kind of how my play style, and I think that's the same for all the other guys on our line. We got big athletic dudes that are that can move, and it's a lot of run, play action, a lot of stuff to get the defense moving. So I think with our guys, I think it'll fit really good.
Trevor, you guys have run wide zone a bunch in the past. It's not like you can just make up new running plays. So what is it about this offense you think that has kind of made that successful for the running game, for the O-line, all that stuff?
I think we really emphasize it more than what we did in the past. I mean, we ran it before, but now it's more kind of our main bread and butter type of thing, and we're really focusing on getting good at that, and you know, different counters off of that, different, you know, schemes we can run off of wide zone. The wide zone's kind of our thing that we want to be good at, and we kind of take pride in that. So I'm really excited for how it's going to look.
Trevor, what can you kind of tell us about Eric McCoy's leadership in the O-line room?
He's a good vocal leader. You know, he leads by example. He sets the tone, kind of what we want to have every day. Kind of the little things that we want to improve on. He's going to be the guy making sure we're all in order and making sure we're right. Yeah, he's a great leader.
Have you talked to Ramczyk then? As far as this?
Not in a while, no.
You know, some of the best players in NFL history, their transition to the pros was difficult for them. Even Drew Brees on this team, in his first couple of years. And do you ever consult people like that for advice? Or, I mean, there's a wide variety of reasons that it doesn't happen immediately for some guys. Do you feel like you have a good handle on why that was for you, and have you consulted guys on how to approach it?
I haven't really. I've talked to, I know Bryce Pop. He was a D lineman in the league for a while. He's played at Northern Iowa. I talked to him in the offseason. He played in the league. He was Defensive Player of the Year in like '95, I think it was. I talked to him. He was telling me, you know, he kind of had a similar situation. I mean, he was a later round pick, but I know he was telling me his third year they were trying to replace him and stuff, and he kind of just basically told me, you know, just put your head down, don't worry about any of the outside noise, just go to work, don't worry about any of this stuff. And you know, that he ended up, you know, playing and being a very good player for a long time. So he basically was just saying, you know, don't let any of that outside stuff, don't let anything bother you, just put your head down and work, and good things will happen.
All right, thanks, guys.
Paulson, after kind of going through last year, having a ton of success with what you played last year, what's your kind of mindset been to follow that up and like kind of keep building on that and stay at that level?
Yeah, same approach I had last year, just trying to be the best corner in the league. And just kind of set that ceiling for myself. I think all of us in this room, we have a lot of talented dudes. Tyron, Latt, we brought some new guys in, Will Harris, you know, Jay, Alante. So I think as a whole, we're just all pushing each other to be the best defensive group we can be.
What do you think last season kind of helped you become closer to that best corner in the league, or do you think people started to notice you more?
I think so. I think last year was a good year for me to kind of put a lot of things together. Still think there's more to be had there for me as a player. So for me, it's just about reaching my potential.
DA said that you're starting here where you ended last year. How do you feel about that? Where you're progressing so far in the offseason?
Yeah, I think if he thinks that way, then that's good. Obviously, that's kind of what you want to hear. You don't want to take any steps back. So I think for me, just being consistent, yeah.
Does it help you as a defense, just knowing this offense is just kind of like spreading around the league to just get a lot of looks at it in practice?
Yeah, definitely. I think with the new offense, they're doing a lot of things that we saw late last year, so that'll give us a good opportunity to be able to see some looks that we'll see during the season.
What are you saying in Mason Tipton, the rookie from Yale? What have you kind of started?
Yeah, he's a really fast receiver, plays really hard, catches everything. It's definitely stood out in the first couple of days.
He's faster than Rashid, or?
It's for y'all to decide, I don't know.
Has the new offense kind of changed how you have to approach, just going into a practice where you kind of face the same offense for the first 3 years, and now you're getting different looks every day?
I think for me, I approach the practice every day the same way, just trying to compete, depending on whatever look I get, just being able to put myself in the best position to be able to stop the offense. So regardless of what offense is being run, looks like they're giving us some different looks this year, but it doesn't change the way that I approach practice.
Do you think with so many offenses, or so many teams in the league running this kind of offense, that defense may collectively like figure it out as the year, like, does this scheme become less effective if more people are running it? Are there more answers?
I mean, definitely the more you see something, probably the better you'll be able to adjust to it. So if that's what you're asking, probably a little bit, but
Obviously a contract year for you. How are you kind of approaching it?
yeah, I think with the contract stuff, it kind of just takes care of itself for me, just being out here, putting my skill set on notice, and I think that's what I've done every year, so it doesn't change my approach at all.
Your agent's out this way, right? Is he planning on meeting with? How to try.
Respect it.
Anything else?
What do you see from Kool-Aid?
Yeah, I like Kool-Aid a lot. Big physical cornerback, speed to him as well, so it kind of fits the mold of what we've been doing here with me, Tay, and Lat. So I feel like he fits right in with what we're trying to do.
Kind of the goals for the secondary this year? I mean, you guys have a lot of talent, a lot of high draft picks in there. What do you kind of want to accomplish?
Yeah, I think for us, just being a dominant defense, being the top secondary in the league. Last year, being up there with takeaways, and I think just trying to affect the game as much as possible, scoring on defense, causing fumbles, causing turnovers, just being disruptive.
Obviously you guys forced a ton of turnovers last year. That's like kind of a year to year. It's hard to maintain that.
Right.
We've seen you out here in camp and interceptions, forced fumbles every day. Is it have you guys found the right kind of approach mentality-wise with turnovers?
I think for us, obviously, the quarterback has to throw it to you, so
right.
it's dependent on the quarterback a lot of times, but just putting yourself in the right positions, the more you can do that time in and time out, eventually those takeaways start to show up on game day.
One of the things Marshawn Lattimore told us in the spring was that he wanted to use this season to kind of remind people of kind of corner he is. What did you just notice from his motivation?
Lat's going to be Lat. I think every year since I've been here, he's been as advertised, one of the best corners in the league, if not the. And he comes in and works that way. So for me, I just see the same approach from him coming in, trying to put the league on notice is what he's been doing and what I expect him to do when he comes back.
Thank you, Paulson.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.